So Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 20XX pre-show, The Beef Corner. I am your host, Cactus, and joining me for this is one member of each of the four qualifying teams of Gru, Fluffy Black Lotus, Moonlight, and Metro. We're going to go down the list for introduction. So, Keo, start us off. Go ahead and introduce yourself and your team.
My name is Keo. I'm from Team Gru. Team consists of me, Gray, Biscuit, and Bagel right now because Obito is not playing. So Obito played with us throughout the season. So it's our five.
Excellent. Following that off, we're going to go over to Noctis.
Okay, my bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah, what's poppin'? Like, I'm Noctis, I'm Blaster main since some years. I'm the captain of Fluffy Black Lotus, and yeah, like we got the sponsor new, and before we just went to Black Lotus, and we needed to change our name from Hell's Paradise to Black Lotus, and my teammates are Wasabi, Anger, Naves and Mert, and Storm Hero is our coach as well. And yeah, we're really excited for the match against Guru.
Following that, let's go right over to Shadow.
Yep, I'm Shadow. I'm the captain of Moonlight. Don't let Omega tell you otherwise. We got Omega, the Carbon Shark. We got Nolan, the SS Kraken. We got Basil, the best backline. Then our favorite pastime has got to be Farm Merge Valley. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Rounding it off, last but definitely not least, is going to be Zenith.
I'm Zenith. I play for Metro, and my teammates right now are currently Atomic and Yoshel. We do not have a fourth yet. We have been playing with Goss, but it is unknown whether he can do finals. So it's like a 50% chance of being him and a 50% chance of being Zerez. We haven't practiced much, and that's about it.
So those are your final four, and these are the members that we will be talking with for this episode. And we'll go in that same order throughout the rest of this. So go rounding back off to Keo. Tell us all about the team. Tell us all about how you formed this to go into this 20XX league.
I'm not. I think. I don't want to lie. I don't even remember. I think me and Biscuit just 20XX. The calls were before SQ Major. Yeah, we usually played with Goss and then Bagel, and Ice didn't want to play a league, and Goss was already on a team. So we ended up asking the only like 3 players at the time, anyway, which are Obi and Gray, because AR doesn't exist right now. So then we played together for that. And Obi doesn't play anymore, so we have Bagel as a sub. And even though he doesn't like the leagues, looks like he's playing it anyway. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, we don't. It's not like really like history or it's not really a big reason, but we've all played together like a fair bit. I play with Gray like almost every day. I haven't played with Obi that much, but I play with the other 2, Bagel, Biscuit, like, all the time.
Amazing. And what would you say maybe a fun pastime you guys have is?
I mean, we're not like all in fuzzies like Smile server Biscuit isn't, but we all play together often. So like sometimes after scrims we just chat shit like randomly. Like I don't know, not anything really specific, but yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. All right, gonna go down the list. Going back to Noctis. What about you? Tell us about the team. Tell us how you formed your guys' favorite pastime.
I have something to say, like an interesting fact that Anger, Wasabi, and me are like really close friends since like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years or maybe even longer. And in Splatoon 2, we even tried to make a team as well, but yeah, there were like some difficulties and I had 1 year break. So in Splatoon 3, we made a new team called Hell's Paradise, and the past members were like Nango, Bali, Zay, and like Wasabi, Anger, and me. We always stick together as like a trio. And we needed to change our name to Black Lotus because Nintendo didn't allow us to take Hell's Paradise for the German Championship. So yeah, that's why we called Black Lotus now. And from like where comes the name Black Lotus is like Bali had in the past the idea White Lotus because it's from Avatar, probably you know the series. And because we all like the color black more than white, we choose like the name to Black Lotus, and that's the story of it. And yeah, afterwards we had a main roster for a long time with Yaru as our last member. And after some months, yeah, Naves was the chosen one who is playing with us now. And also like we have Mert in the boat, and also Storm Hero who coached us and tried to help us to reach the top of the mountain, you know. And yeah, exactly, like yeah.
Awesome, fantastic. And what would you say your team's favorite pastime is?
Do you mean outside of Splatoon or?
Outside of Splatoon, in Splatoon, either or.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we met us in real life often, and we're like hanging out together, talking about like real life stuff, maybe about the laugh or like other things. Played some other games like Mario Party, Mario Kart, and
Based,
yeah,
nice.
we're like it's the same friendship as you know your best friend in real life, and that's what I like to have in a team.
Absolutely, no, that's awesome. Being able to build that friendship from the ground up, especially all during a game that you all enjoy, is one of the best ways to have it.
Exactly.
Going on down, Shadow. What about you? Tell us about Moonlight. Tell us about your. I mean, you
Listen,
said the favorite pastime already, but let's hear a little bit about Moonlight.
listen, I told Omega I wanted to make a team with him, and he said, I'm in Europe. You gotta wait. And I said, okay. So I waited him to come home. He came home. I said, all right, let's do it. We got Basil, and then we were like, we need a really good friend who can play long range weapons, Nolan. And it fit together perfectly. We're all besties, and I mean, we all couldn't be happier that we're on a team with each other. Our roles fit together. We're all super duper close. Like everything's perfect. And I mean, you know our favorite pastime. Come on.
Fire Merge Valid, absolutely. Gotta ask though, which one? Who's not the greatest at that? Who's
Oh, it's
behind?
Omega. He hates it. We all three of us get on and he yells at us. Char yells at us. They hate it.
I love that. I love that. Running us off, Zenith. Tell us about Metro.
Um, so the main core of Metro is me, Atomic Yosho, and we've been playing tournaments together for over a year now, where I met Yosho in like +3, and then we met Atomic through another +3 pickup, and we've just played together ever since. I'm a pretty inconsistent player, so having two people who don't care that much about the game and I'm just friendly with be on a team with me is really easy because they don't mind if we do bad. And we've just consistently played tourneys for fun together for like, again, over a year. Our fourth is always, it's either Goss, because Goss is pretty good and we've been playing with him for a while, or it's someone else if he doesn't play. So as of now, it is Goss, but again, you'll see us playing with pretty much any good player, good slayers. I think that's about it. Those two don't play the game much, Atomic and Yosho. I play a lot.
Valid, no, absolutely. And what would you say maybe a favorite pastime y'all have is?
Um, so we used to hang out a lot during summer when we were all more free, and we just play other games like Terraria or Stardew, and we just chill and do that like all day. It's really fun. Um, we do scrims and stuff, but not as often. And nowadays we kind of just talk sometimes and maybe call every once and again.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Love to hear that. So, all right, moving on to our next question we got. Y'all been playing thus far into 20XX. What is maybe a favorite moment you all have? Go down the list again, starting off with Kyo.
Probably just like the qualifiers, because that day we woke up early for a French tourney, and then we played the 20XS calls, and we played Celeste 4 times that day. And I
God.
was looking forward to a fifth, but that didn't happen because they disbanded, and now they're not playing the league.
Bro needed that run back.
Yeah, I needed my fifth run. I guess that's my favorite moment. It was just funny to play them 4 times in one day.
I love that. That's incredible. Noctis, what about you? Favorite moment from 20XX?
My personal favorite moment is like that fucking K-bot is back on the mic. Like,
Yeah.
My goat.
I swear, like, he's such a goat. Like, the tussle vibes coming back, you know. And yeah, nah, just kidding. But the favorite moment was like for us, I think, to know how we can do. Like, we played against Metro in the first week, and yeah, everyone knows they're really good recently, the last months. And that, of course, not the L was the highlight, but how we played against them, because it was not a destruction against us. It was like even matchups sometimes, like some better matches for them, some better matches for us. And yeah, of course, as well, the hype set versus Dead Kid Fan Club. Like, I didn't expected it to be that close, but it was probably nice for the casters, for the viewers, for everyone. So perfect. And yeah, also the 1 week break since Celeste dropped was also nice. We were able to chill a bit more. And yeah, but yeah, kind of sad that they dropped because yeah, we wanted to face them.
Absolutely. It's that vendetta. We'll always want to be able to beat out who you can.
Yeah.
What about you, Shadow? Favorite moment of 20XX?
Now, I have a very specific favorite moment. My favorite moment is going into week 3. Either we win and we're in playoffs, or we lose or we're out. 2 out of the 9 commentators thought we were going to win. So it was not looking good. The commentators thought we were going to lose. 9 and Popgun on the commentary, watching us win 4-2 to clinch playoffs. That was nice. So I'm very happy we were able to clinch playoffs and show the commentators wrong on that. And Applebot died. Salute.
Yeah, hey,
So sick.
Cactus, your bot's dead.
R.I.P. the bot. I was like, what was that?
Hey.
All right, we're back. Shadow, run us back one more time.
All right. So my favorite moment is when the commentators, 2 out of the 9 commentators, said that Moonlight was going to lose to Henlo Fan Club. And after a 4-2 result and clinching playoffs, that feels real nice. Thank you to 9 and Popgun for commentating that. It was a blessing.
Fantastic. Being able to show everyone up, tell them that you might count us out, but we're not out, and pulling off in fantastic fashion. Zenith, what about you? Favorite moment of 20XX?
Oh, we haven't played much of 20XX. We didn't get a qualifier because we qualified through Super Jump. And if that would count, that would be my favorite moment because that Tony was awesome.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Definitely counts.
if it's just based on the 2 sets we've played, which was against Black Lotus and That Kid Fan Club, it would probably have to be the Black Lotus set because it was really not close, but it was back and forth relatively. So it was pretty fun. Also, the commentators just of this tourney are really good. All of them are the best. I love Pat and Fufu and K-Bot, all the goats.
Yeah, W commentary lineup. They brought out only the best for this event, being able to shine through all of all the teams and the players that we've had competing thus far. So, starting off with Keo, who are you most excited to go against, if there's anyone specific for these finals?
I don't really mind either way. Honestly, I just want good games.
Valid, valid.
I've played Noctis the least in this game out of everyone else, so that should be cool. But Black Lotus, I've played Zenith in like 3 of 4 or whatever, something last grand finals or something. And I usually find Moonlight every tourney, except for like Riptide. See, like, the last time I can remember not fighting him in tourney. So yeah, I guess that was fine. Say Black Lotus and whoever makes it to grands. Hopefully it's a entertaining sets.
Absolutely. All right. We have a little bit of a favorite there for least amount played. What about you, Noctis? Anyone specifically you're excited to go against?
Yes, of course. We were like most excited to fight in like besides the finals to fight Celeste. Not gonna lie, because we had some competitions against each other. We played them a lot in scrims, in tournaments, in Senokyu. But yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't happen. So since they dropped our upcoming opponent, which is Gugu, like Q here, is actually the most excited or favorite enemy we wanna beat and yeah, show what we can.
Awesome. Fantastic. What about you, Shadow? Who are you most excited to go against?
Man, I can't wait to fight Metro. I would say that, but they only got 3 people at the current moment, so I'm excited to fight 3/4 of the current Metro. We'll see who they get, but I'm excited.
Fantastic. And what about you, Zenith?
Um, on excitement, probably Gru just because those are always the closest sets, and we've been fighting Kyo and Biscuit all summer long. It's been pretty back and forth. Other than that, definitely Moonlight, because Moonlight's just a fun team to fight. They run fun shit. And I don't know if we'll see Black Lotus, because that would mean we'd both have to win our sets, but they also run Tent. Tent's fun to fight, so pretty much everyone.
All right. I love to hear that. Y'all are excited to really go against anyone here, which is really fantastic. Um, Speaking of those matches, though, what do you want to prove, if anything, this finale? Starting off with Yukio.
Ah, do I even have anything to prove left at this point? To be honest, I don't know. I can prove that I can still do this shit after like X amount of years, I guess. But like, I think we already know that. Yeah, nothing really, honestly. I just wanna, if I win this, then we're tied as Q and 20XX. That'd be a calm little three-peat on the resume.
That'd be a solid Splatoon resume for sure. What about you, Noctis? Anything you and your team want to prove this finale?
Yes, sir. We wanna prove as the only full European and German top level team. I wanna prove so hard with my brothers, with my mates this fucking Sunday that even when we have a unique comp, even when people say why they don't play meta, why whatever, and meanwhile, we are really good friends, and we don't only matters about like, okay, how good is my mate? If he's not good enough, go away. Um, and we only, we only practice only 3 days each week. It's my fault because I have like private issues. But even with the 3 days, I wanna beat the French and a mix, and that we can fucking win major leagues, and this is time to shine on Sunday.
Gotta love it. Fueling yourself for that, making sure you guys can prove what you've been working so hard towards. Absolutely. Shadow, what does Moonlight want to prove this finale?
We're gonna prove. I already said it before. Commentator said 2 out of 9 for the Henlo fan club. So we're gonna see what it says again. We're gonna try to get that going again. We got the plays. We've been practicing. Been going crazy in the kitchen. So I'm really excited to show what our practice is gonna do for us on Sunday.
I love it. Cooking up hopefully a 5-star meal of pain for the other team. Zenith, what about you? What does Metro want to prove this finale?
I mean, all of us across the summer and this whole year have won quite a bit of stuff, so it's not really to prove we can win, but if there was anything, it would prove we can be the best as long as we beat Kyo and his
Valid.
super team that he assembles every fucking tourney.
Absolutely. Target on the back. Gotta have something to go after. All right. So this is a little section where you get to kind of mention whatever you'd like. So starting with Kyo, what do you have to say to your competition since they're here right now?
That's a great question that I don't have an answer to.
Bro.
Shit, I don't know. You ready? I want to say some cringe anime shit, but I can't think of anything.
Fair
I'm not
enough.
gonna
Feel the anime character.
lie.
All right. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, Noctis? Anything you want to say to your competition?
Yeah, I feel the anime character energy, but so every here like can underrate us, can try to make us down, can try to squid back us. It doesn't matter, nothing will stop us to give everything, to beat the shit out of everyone because we never give up. If we fall down, it's fine. Okay, they can laugh about us, but we will keep up the head. And yeah, it doesn't matter what happens. We will keep going and try our best on Sunday.
Yeah.
I love it.
Tatakai!
I love it. All right. What about you, Shadow? What do you want to say to your teams you're going against right now?
Listen, Metro, they only got 3 people right now, so that's not looking too hot for them. But in the occurrence, they're going to have a predominantly EU roster. We're going to show them how we do it in America. This one's for the USA. We're going to give them the Moonshine Special. Been cooking up some things. We got the plays, we got the strats. USA, this one's for you.
I love it. I love it.
Fuck with that.
And Zenith, what about you? Anything to say to your competition?
Honestly, I can't really think of anything too interesting, but I don't know. Maybe just watch out Moonlight because we fight them round 1, and I'm on.
USA. USA.
I was like,
USA.
is my VC gone?
No, I think Zenith cut out, unfortunately. You still there, Zenith?
USA.
Oh, did I cut out?
A little
That's very
bit. It's
possible.
okay.
Oh
Because,
fuck! What? Okay, what was the last thing I said?
Watch out, Moonlight.
Oh, okay, I did cut out. Never mind. Hold on. Hello?
There
Hello?
we go. Hello.
Yellow.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, watch out Moonlight, and also, I'm looking forward to fighting Kyo and Biscuit especially. That guy's so good. It'll be a good grands.
So what you're saying is Moonlight is legit terrible, and
Yeah,
Rivalries is legit terrible.
Damn.
because we're all
Dude,
making
this
it
is-
sound-
on the
This is
rooftops, brother.
not correct, man.
That's
Yeah,
what it
I'm
sounds like.
I'm basically saying that both.
That's
probably
what I
lose.
heard.
That's what I heard.
I just wanted to be nice about it.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Moonlight. But also, earlier, Shadow, you said you show them moonshine. Don't you mean moonlight?
Yeah, we got the moon. No, we're doing the moonshine special on them.
Okay. I believe it. I believe it when I see it. Absolutely. So obviously you're gonna perform the best. Starting with Kyo, who do you think will perform the worst this finale?
You know, probably Black Lotus if they take no games off us in semis, and if we're super warmed up, whoever we fight in whoever's playing us is gonna perform worse. Is basically what I'm saying. It's just a battle of which one of you decides to take more games. So figure that out amongst yourselves.
Fair enough. What about you, Noctis? Who do you think's gonna perform the worst?
You know what? After this interview, man, I'm gonna block you. Nah, just kidding. Okay, but personally, the worst of these 4 teams will be Moonlight because we have the better coach. All right, we have the better coach. All right,
Ooh.
this is shots fired.
Shot fired at the coaches. I love to hear
Shots
that.
fired at the coach is kind of insane.
Fuck you, Chara.
Bo ain't even here. All right. What about you, Shadow? Who's performing
Listen,
the worst?
worst performing player gonna have to be Storm Hero. He's not even gonna pick up the controller. That's what I'm gonna say.
Stop it.
Oh my gosh. All right. What about team?
What about team? Listen, I'm just gonna have to say Metro because they're gonna be fighting us, and we got that USA pride going in.
All right, absolutely. Well, what about you, Zenith? Who's performing the worst?
it's like a toss up. It's either gonna be us because we only have 3 members, or it's gonna be Black Lotus because Black Lotus hasn't won anything ever.
Oh,
Damn.
not
Wait,
Devin, bro.
wait, no, this is Devin. Wait,
That's a good thing.
that's not
Wait.
crazy to hear.
no, wait, no, wait. Oh, Nox is undeafened. Wait, please repeat.
No.
Sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. You only got
It's all
told that.
good. Next question.
Next question.
What did Nana? What did you say? What did you say?
Nah,
He
Nox is
lied.
asking. He's asking. You gotta
No, the
tell him.
Habibi
You
is-
gotta tell him.
It's curious.
Gonna watch on finals and get fired up.
Yeah, you're gonna see it on the podcast. It's okay.
Nana, I want to hear it now, live.
Okay.
but
PayPal me
if you see it-
$5.
Oh,
$5 for what?
$5.
Getting a bag while talking
Why
trash.
me to tell
We'd
you.
love to hear
Why
it.
is this a ransom?
Nah, bro.
Listen to you. I need the money.
Oh, win the tournament. There's a bag and prize there.
Nah, man, for real.
I mean, $5 on top of the prize.
True. $5 is $5. Wait.
Okay, dude, don't say that.
mean,
I mean.
not wrong necessarily.
Can someone repeat what she said?
Just that they feel they're gonna do bad, but also you haven't won anything. Anyway, next question. Next question.
Getting 5,000.
All right. What is the breakfast of champions going to be having this Sunday? Starting with you, Kyo.
Whatever Mama Keo makes, if she makes breakfast, and if she doesn't, I just thug it out because I don't eat breakfast normally. So a bottle of water.
That's
Turn
American.
these off an empty stomach.
That's American. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Nothing but a bottle of water and a dream. What about you,
All you need.
Noctis?
Our breakfast will be the madness of our enemies when they lose to us.
All right, all right.
That's hard.
That's going in the quotes, man. That's like edit worthy, bro. That's a TikTok edit right there.
That's hard.
I'm gonna make that after this. Holy. What about you, Shadow? What are you snacking on or eating? The breakfast of champs.
So we're looking at sunny side up eggs with a little bit of bacon. Need some orange juice as well. Thinking about adding some steak and potatoes as well. You know, I need a big breakfast.
Oh,
I was feasting this Sunday. Holy. That's an American dinner or breakfast if I've ever heard one. All right, and then Zenith, what about you? What is the breakfast of champions like for you or Metro?
Probably gonna be some chips and salsa that are left over from the night before.
I respect it.
I don't eat
respect
breakfast.
it.
you should have
Valid.
asked Atomic, so you had to say like a really.
No, dude, I'm not pronouncing anything. Atomic says.
I just say like sunny side up eggs. Atomic does the EU one.
No, wait, hold on. Let me see, because they were eating something peculiar like 3 days ago.
Something peculiar.
Actually, I cannot pronounce this. Never mind. Just continue on.
Fair enough. It was worth a shot. It was worth a shot. All right. Well, closing thoughts. The floor is yours. We'll go in order again as we've been doing this far. Whatever you want to say, you may say it here and now. Kyo, start us off.
Look forward to Sunday. Gotta put on a performance. You might see some surprises in the comps. You might not. We'll see. Yeah. Thanks for watching 20XX so far. Been a huge success. Been loving it. Been loving the cast. Love the idea. And yeah.
Awesome. Love it. What about you, Noctis? Closing thoughts. Floor is yours.
Floor's yours, floor's mine. Yeah, I only can say it's time for the Habibi mode, the real Habibi mode on Sunday, man. There's no other option for me, for us, and yeah, I'm really excited for Sunday, for the casters, for the enemies, for the madness of our enemies, you know. And yeah, like I'm really excited, appreciate the work of the TOs and such, and yeah. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Lock it in. Absolutely. Shadow, floor is yours next.
All right.
Closing
listen.
thoughts.
Real note. Thank you so much to the production, the commentators, the people behind the desk working that like they're doing amazing work. The layouts and the streams have been amazing. Things have gone so well. I'm sure the fans are enjoying it. We're enjoying playing it. So good for everyone involved. But this is called the beef corner, so I'm gonna start some beef here. Kyo, I'm gonna need you to make it to Grands, cause you, man, might be the worst navigator of all time. Kyo is sitting in that passenger seat. He's watching TikToks. He's on his phone. We're going on down the exit.
We almost crashed, bro.
I'm turning. He's still watching TikToks. We got people in the back seat on TikTok. I'm trying to figure out where we're going. He said, "Yeah, a little bit down that way." I don't know where we're going. I'm just driving. Make it to Grands. I got to show you who's a better navigator.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll do that.
You need to worry. You need to worry, man.
How do you feel about the allegations?
Yeah, that might be true. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not even gonna argue with it. Like, I just gotta hold that one.
At least stay truthful to it. All right, Zenith. Last but not least, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Well, closing thoughts. I really appreciate the Tony and the TOs, and especially the commentators, because commentators make everything more exciting. And in terms of the competition, I think you should cheer for us, everyone who watches this podcast, because we have the most talented roller player in the West, and rollers is like the most exciting weapon ever. And also, you should cheer for us because we're the gayest team out there. We have me, Atomic, and Goss. So if you like pride, if you like being proud to have freedom, you should cheer for us.
Ooh, taken away from you, Shadow. R.I.P. I must sing.
Basil's on our team, brother.
You're one out of 4. And Kyo's team just has Kyo. This like no, my biscuit.
Not even biscuit. Me.
Biscuit. Fuck, my bad.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's gonna close it off for our 20XX pre-show of the Beef Corner. I want to give a huge thank you to Noctis, Zenith, Kyo, and Shadow for coming on, representing their team, and you'll be seeing them pretty soon going into the 20XX finale, giving it all that they got. Let's see who's going to be holding up their end of the deal, what they discussed today. But for this Beef Quarter, that's going to do it. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the playoffs preview. Hello everyone, and welcome to the 20XX League pre-show preview. My name is Cactus, and joining me, we have 3 amazing commentators and figures in the Splatoon community. I'm joined by K-Bot, Popgun, and Nine, and I'll let them to introduce themselves as that order goes. So starting off with you, we'll have K-Bot.
Yeah, hi there, everybody. You might know me from my podcast where I do 1 episode a week, and I've done it for far too long to get up to about 230 some episodes where I yap about whatever I want to and monologue for as long as I want to about whatever random topic in the Splatoon community that I can find. Happy to be here, and this might be house, but I'll give it my all anyway.
Fantastic. We'll go over to you next, Popgun.
Hi, I'm Popgun, and you might know me. Well, actually, if you're Div 6 or below, you have no idea who I am because I don't do a lot of commentary anymore. But when I did do commentary, by golly, did I say words extremely fast because Splatoon moves extremely fast. By the way, I'll ask that you put some respect on my name. It's not Popgun, it's two-time Community Figure of the Year nominee Popgun. Thank you very much.
Right. My bad. We must bow down.
All hail mighty Popgun. And last, but certainly not least, we have 9.
Yeah, the two of them already fired warning shots at each other, so I'm going to do what I do best and step out of the way and allow the people with too much spirit to continue throwing poo at one another. I commentate things, worlds, weeklies, everything in between, and I've said a few words with the two fine folks that are up here in the booth with me tonight, too, so I'm sure we'll have some fun.
And as I finish choking on my water, we'll go right into our first lovely topic that I had for us to discuss is what is the breakfast that y'all will be enjoying and digging yourselves into for today? Sorry, UK bot.
I had a breakfast sandwich and some waffles, and that's been about my breakfast pretty regularly because I can prepare it ahead of time and then like warm it up in the air fryer, which is huge. Learn how to meal prep, folks. You will thank yourself later, rather than just eating the same frozen stuff over and over and over again.
But prep's so important. What about you, Popgun? What are you having?
I got married, so that's the food prep that kind of worked out in my favor there. It is Sunday, as we all know, and here's some pro tip, and I've shared this before, so this shouldn't be new to anybody. My wife and I every Sunday go to a breakfast spot, and that is a tradition we've been doing for about 10 years or so now. And it's nice because we wake up on Sunday and we know we don't have to ask each other, oh, what are we going to do? Where do we want to go? We know we're going to a designated breakfast spot. It's been Waffle House for a good chunk of time, IHOP for a good chunk of time. Now we're settled in a local place. I just get the French toast combo, some eggs over hard, decaf coffee. She gets the eggs Benedict, and PJ is a pancake machine. He shovels those things down.
I love it. Lovely morning outing with the fam. And last but not least, 9. What about you? What are you devouring?
Well, these two have given you pro tips. I'm going to give you protein because that's pretty much all I try to eat. For those of you who don't know, cottage cheese, a fantastic cheat code for those of you who are trying to up your protein intake. So I'll probably have about 3/4 to a cup of that. I'll have a protein shake that I mix up the night before and let sit overnight. And then I've got a half cup of yogurt that I have, and that all ends up at about 55 to 60 grams of protein to start the day. And it's how I start every day. So why change it now?
I love it. Can't go wrong with a consistent breakfast schedule. Some pretty amazing choices. And of course, for all those at home are probably devouring a lovely breakfast of water and grind for this finale of the league.
What about you, Cactus?
You know,
you eat food, Cactus?
Do you eat food or do you just ask people questions? I mean, like,
okay,
Well, I mean,
all right.
Technically, the chloroplast isn't exactly like eating, but
well, that's true.
What was that one episode of SpongeBob? Photosynthesis. I photosynthesize, and the occasional
Right.
water once a month. But yeah, so 20XX, right? First time into league. Usually a 2-day event for a weekend. Teams will take off for whatever plans they might have. I want to pick your guys' brains. What are your thoughts on 20XX as a league for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you're able to throw teams together at a high level league, where there's a lot of prep work around, you know exactly who you're playing against, you know exactly what they're probably thinking and what they're going to run, and you're able to prepare for that, especially in a small map pool. I think that's the time when you start to see some more innovation come out, rather than just the same old things that everyone keeps playing because they know that it's going to work the best no matter who they're playing up against in the bracket, right? So, I think anytime you get these teams together in a league, it's a unique environment. I find it to be a more exciting environment because there is something week to week, and you've got one match this week. You either win it or lose it. There's no like, oh man, I'll get him next time. Maybe I'll get on the podium. No, you win or lose this week. And with a short season like this one was, it's brutal because you lose one and you're on the brink of not going very far. So I think it's always a lot of fun to watch what these players come up with anytime you throw them into this kind of a setting. And I think we saw a lot of that with this league, given by just how many different groups of people had to assemble through the qualifier stage to get up to this point.
I'm just happy this is a thing. Honestly, I'm just happy we have leagues. This obviously wasn't attempted since the Ink TV thing came around, and while there was no Ink TV 2, we saw a lot of the people behind the scenes who put a lot of effort into that kind of just tap out and say, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm not. I'm checking out of this thing." And it was supposed to be we're going to show the world how to run a league. And well, nobody wanted to really touch that, or well, people were saying, "Yeah, I'd love to run a league," but I don't think people realize the amount of work and effort that goes into creating these things. And K-Bot, you talked about the value that the league like this brings, and obviously we'll spend most of the day talking about things like that. So I'm just happy. The success of this league is the fact that it's getting to the finish line. And to me, that's the only value that's really coming. Well, not the only, but that's the main value that comes out of this thing.
Yeah, and I'll kind of add on to what both of them said, talking about the big value or something that can be taken from this league into the future. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first real official league foray that actually banned a full mode or excluded it, which is, I think, a really interesting idea. I think a lot of times the concepts of bans and things that go in and out kind of moves away, kind of changes things up a little bit. But people don't really make big bans for fear of angering people, right? Whether it's like, oh, we don't want to totally get rid of tactical, or we don't want to totally get rid of this mode. I respect the TOs and the staff for saying no Rainmaker, none. Absolutely no Rainmaker here. This will shorten the map pool. And you know what? Even if the only reason they chose it was just because they personally did not like Rainmaker, I'm fine with it. I like it when people are willing to take those chances and see what it is. And now I've learned that apparently everybody hates Rainmaker. So, all it takes is one brave soul to come forward with courage to be a majority. But I'll echo what the other two said. I've always been a big fan of stable league formats where you actually get to see a little bit of back and forth between different teams. And I am looking forward to seeing what these finals bring.
Rainmaker did nothing wrong.
Well, wow. Yeah, you haven't heard anybody complain of, man, I wish Rainmaker was here. I wish the ability to hit home runs in 10 seconds were to find its way to come back. But yeah, that's bravery is the correct term, because even though studies have shown overwhelmingly players are in favor of things being limited by TOs.
Academically rigorous studies.
Most TOs have come forward or privately have said, I don't know about that. So yeah, something getting the axe has been beneficial. And yeah, not a single person has complained about Rainmaker. If they did, they didn't get enough likes on Twitter for anyone to care.
Not enough reposts. And I gotta agree. I mean, having Rainmaker a mode that can be over, I mean, like on certain maps, like for example, like Humpback, right? Over in seconds, clear first checkpoint, you have enough special build up to rush you through there to block off enemies off of the snipe. Maybe a Zuka, because everyone loves Zuka, to clear off that entryway to the final checkpoint. I mean, now you have to be a little more tactical with your decisions, especially with a smaller, like you said, nice smaller map pool with the only 3 modes you're stuck to. And it was kind of nice to have just one mode singled out and not tower control clamblets along with it. It's just like one mode, not a fan of it. Get rid of it. Now you have teams that have to be more coordinated in these other modes. Clam Blitz, of course, with the building of the power clam and being able to have a player fall back to hold that 3v4 if you're going for advantage push, and scoring to collect those extra clams to keep your push going. tower control, right? It's pretty much a protect the president as that tower slowly moves forward, and it's at that set rate. You're not going any faster. So you're going to pull out all the stops to make sure you create that kind of force field around that tower. And of course, splat zones and splat zones. I mean, we've seen it since practically day one. It's top level's favorite mode to play, but it's nice to see that that's kind of a nice change of pace that we just got rid of one. It's not only a full splat zones league. I think if it was, it wouldn't be nearly of where it is now, because splat zones, even for just one weekend, is a lot.
Well, I think if you look at some of the team picks that they did, I think there are a couple of teams in our top 4 who would have been A-okay with it being splat zones only.
Definitely.
League. Yeah, can we just make, by the way, Inkblot Tower Control like an honorary splat zones map at this point? Like, can that just go in with the splat zones picks? Because that's it. Like, if you gave everybody splat zones only and tower control Inkblot, I think they'd be like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, we'll go there eventually. Purgatory. Stupid map mode.
As long as it's game 2 by default, and then
yes,
that fits in.
Yeah, probably after a Hagglefish, or maybe if we're feeling especially frisky, we might get Roboramen.
Ooh.
That'd be fun. That'd be pretty spooky as well. And you know, most of the times you have round 1 like guaranteed picks, so just make it 2. Best of 7 games anyway. They can deal with the first 2 being chosen automatically. They could wait an extra game.
Yeah, it's just a best of 5 at that point. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a best of 5 at that point. Actually, can we like talk about that for a moment? Because we have moved away as a community from best of 7. And I won't say that I completely long for the days of best of 7, but I think that I have enjoyed seeing best of 7 come back in these exhibition style matches. I think it's very different there than it is at a grand final. So that's brought a nice smile and a tear to my cold dead heart seeing best of 7s back again.
You know, we used to do best of 7 in grand finals of low ink when it was a double limb. So bracket reset would be best of 7 as well. And then that first Riptide where Starburst beat Not FT win in best of 5 grand finals and bracket reset, it crossed my mind. Oh, wait a minute. Why the hell are we not doing that? Like, let's just shorten this thing down. It's still just as exciting. We're not making Europe stay up until Monday morning. And so best of, but in this format, yes, obviously it works out. Now, the comparison to what Ink TV did was best of 3, which brought its own kind of unique twist to things as well. But yeah, best of 7, I think is a long enough fair set for things. And it's also short enough to where you think of a Ludi set of best of 9, like, okay, we can take a few games to figure things out. Well, if you do that here, you're already halfway to an L. So that seems to be kind of a good sweet spot, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely wouldn't want a best of 5 league, right? I mean, that's unless you're planning on playing 2 matches a day and it's double round robin. I don't really think you're doing a best of 5. The real reason best of 5s were transitioned to was exactly for Popgun's point. I remember specifically the moment where we decided to make that transition was after Smash and Splash 2019, which was Demise versus For the Watt.
Yeah.
And that was a very long and grueling back-to-back best of 7s and grand finals, and we were all there for like 2.5 hours watching the same teams. I mean, it was like, okay, we got to figure out something else here to trim this down. But yeah, I mean, like here, I think the best of 7 format, it works. It's simple. You get your one shot at the team, and you got to make the most of it. That's the reality, right? I think a lot of other formats, like Popgun said, go over to best of 9. You have a little more wiggle room. Maybe in the best 3 of 3, you can have a weak mode, Here, you had to be strong on basically every map if you wanted a pretty good chance of locking this one out.
You remember the Crown grand finals for that?
Oh, I do.
Best of 5, best of 3. And that one went to a set 5. I think they played 16 or 17 games. In that, I think they're still getting through that one.
One of the great sets, like one of the great matches in Splatoon history that will sadly be lost to time. Like the Crown was unbelievable. Like deserved so much better than history will look at it as.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're getting way off topic here, but man, now we're
That's
really,
fine.
knocking.
Now you're just bringing back old scars for the fun of it. For me, I mean, personally.
Yeah, you know what? Since we're talking about leagues, let's talk about Tassel here. Let's
Yeah,
just go to all
yeah.
of the different
Bring it
ventures
back.
that K-Bot has poured himself into. That oh my goodness.
How is it, K-Bot, not being able to look at this and be like, I don't have to do that?
Pretty nice, actually. That's the other part of too, right? Is I love the fact that these leagues exist because I didn't have to run it myself, and I could focus on like actually watching the teams and watching the gameplay rather than worrying about, all right, is the next team ready to go? Who are my commentators? And what other resources can I provide my commentators to put on the good show? Or as we did in Tassel Season 2, running the darn broadcast ourselves, where it was one caster, you're with a co-caster, and it's either myself, Nine, or Ninja running the broadcast on our own Twitch streams at the same time to make sure that the match is covered.
Oh, you're burying the lead there. Our production was Google Sheets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was Google Sheets in an OBS template.
You kids don't know how well you have it these days with all of your organizations that have resources upon resources because they've been doing it for this long.
I will say, though, something that I did like from Tassel, and that I liked as well from a couple of the most recent League ventures, this one included, is I do like, from a commentary standpoint, what a League can bring, because as you all know, having gone through the grind of casting weeklies every once in a while, Popgun, casting hundreds of thousands of teams in low ink at this point, I'm assuming. But it's nice to know for a league who your co-commentators will be. It might not be the same one every time, but that, I think, is also another nice element of stability, because then you and your co-commentator might actually share some notes, which is, such a wonderful art that can be very difficult to do when you don't know who your co-caster is until, an hour beforehand. So, for the casters out there, I love you, and I'm a fan of you.
I just want to go off tangent right now, but I know we got stuff to talk about. I mean, that's.
Oh, you mean this isn't just a general podcast episode about the state of the Splatoon community?
Can I just get the three of you on my podcast on Monday, and we can just continue this random thing?
I'm
here?
sure we could.
I'll be
go on
available
for like 4 hours.
We'll multi-podcast,
Hey,
Popgun. We'll multi-podcast.
At some point, they do got to play games, though.
No.
Oh yeah, that is what we're keeping the viewers from.
Yeah.
At this point. All right, keep it
The
going.
games.
Keep it going.
The games. All right, so 20XX as a league now, pretty cool. Love it. Favorite part so far of the 20XX league that you've witnessed?
Yeah, I'll go first here because I think there's one very easy answer here, and I wanted to be the first one to it, so I didn't sound like I was copying. Fluffy Black Lotus versus Dat Kid FC. That set was a banger, and in this kind of settled in meta that a lot of these teams have started to fall through, which I'm sure we'll get into, but players sort of playing the same general concepts of roles. For a Tentebrella team, which has always been one of the wrenches that could be thrown in, even back in Splatoon 2, Tentebrella team was like, that was its own comp, was a tent comp. To see that still be used at a high level, and for it to be the catalyst for not only the retake, that should not have happened, by the way, but they did it anyway, and then the hold after the fact. You just don't get those moments too often. We can talk them up and always say, oh man, that tent's going to be the one piece that separates everything. It doesn't go like that most of the time. So to finally see it happen in a Game 7 to make the playoffs, you can't script it any better. So that's mine.
Yeah. My most favorite moment was when I was on the mic for one of my 2 matches. And it was also against Dat Kid Fan Club, so maybe this is just the Dat Kid Fan Club hate hour or something. I don't know. But I loved Game 3, Metro versus Dat Kid Fan Club. The players of Metro put on a clinic. That was Atomic getting a quad, Goss getting 3 at some point, and then Zenith coming in with 6.
That was
all
Robo.
at once.
Yes.
Robo Ramen, yeah?
Yes. I think it was Robo Zones,
Ramen.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Robo Zones. And just watching these players on Metro who have significant experience around one another, each individually step up to make a play and be enabled by their teammates to be in the position to do so, was the reminder of why I think this team won Super Jump, why they should have been considered as one of the favorites to win this league the whole time. And I think some people were like, oh, I don't know about this Metro team right now. No, they're here to stay. And that was the moment that was the exclamation mark for me. It wasn't the fact that it was a 4-0 sweep. It was just how dominant and how well each player individually stepped up in that game 3 that did it for me.
You know, I think that clip you're referring to of Zenith just ripping that kid a new one was one of the main clips, if not the only clip I really saw of the league kind of circulating around. And Nine, the moment you're mentioning was personal to me because I thought for sure that kid was going to win that one when they had the lead late, and I was like, okay, this is going to make me look like a genius, and Pat, because we were the only ones who predicted that kid to win, and then they did it. So now I just got to say, well, I knew it was close, and everyone else should have known that was going to be the case as well. Thank you for not saying the Moonlight comp because I thought that'd be an easy one to say but just to challenge myself, I won't mention that as my favorite moment either, even though it was the fact that they had Hinlow fan club on the run, and before they could get set up, oh, here's this random curveball, Bamboo and Nolan on the dualies. Try to have fun figuring this out while you're in an elimination game. I'll go with this. I'll go with the arrow spray in game 1, week 1 that got the dub, I believe, on Splat Zone's Robo Ramen, trying to do some Reef Slider cheese, but to the arrow spray, the casuals that are saying that weapon is broken now have something to point to. See, they're using it in the top league as well and winning with it. So there, I'll take that and not take the easy Moonlight bait.
Yeah, I mean, those are all such incredible moments. Those have felt like just really key highlights of the league that we've seen thus far. I mean, besides that, those were the ones that stuck out the most to me. I mean, I just remember being able to see that the Bamboo for Moonlight just honestly for me just stuck out the most just because of how wild of a pick it was. Like, you could expect maybe, Basil to pick E-Leader, maybe ZF Charger, something that's like more to what they used to main back before. But Bamboo was such just a wild pick to see. I mean, I think it just stunned more than anything, being able to see a weapon like that just come on out and being able to pair it with something like the dualies where it's gonna have crabs, so you can play that long range game if you really want to. And with how dominant they were on that map for Mako Mart, I mean, I don't think there was a single time they really ever gave up the stacks. And again, I think it was tower control, right? So you had you know Henlo fan club trying to take through mid, not really watching the stacks as much as they would like to because they're just trying to hold that ledge. They just want to get that tower to first checkpoint, and that led for so many opportunities for just flank routes. I mean, frontline Bamboo, something you don't see every day. I mean, it was just wow.
I mean, I think maybe we'll start getting into how these teams start playing, but you're thrown off by that Bamboo pick at first, but then you take another look at it and you go, wait a minute, this makes a lot more sense than what Moonlight was trying to do ahead of time. In my opinion, I mean, obviously, when you're playing with a player like Omega, right, this carbon roller trained player, regardless of what weapon he's playing, his goal is to run in and create chaos, play around it and feed into it. And with a previous composition, right, Basil sitting back on the typewriter, casually, writing down what the zone looks like. Then you've got Nolan playing this 96, long range, removed from the fight, can pop the Kraken sure here or there, more as a survival tool more than anything. But when you take that and you switch it on its head, now all of a sudden, Basil is activated to go forward in a way that they weren't previously. Nolan is activated to go forward in a way that he wasn't previously on the dualies, and Shadow can hold down the paint coverage on the NZAP and also be involved on the front lines. That gets everyone playing to the same speed and helps Moonlight continue to push their way in. I am excited to see whether or not we see that composition from them today, because I think it can be really strong and suits the way they want to play the game incredibly well.
Yeah, and I mean, touching on the subject of how like the teams that have qualified have played, let's talk about a little bit about the teams that didn't, right? What are some runner-up teams that you would have liked to see have made this top four that maybe were aiming to secure a spot, and then just, I mean, obviously someone's gonna say that Black Lotus said that we should solve it at game 7, but what are some teams you would have liked to maybe shine through these past couple of weeks to try to make it here to the finale?
Is it
A
poor
lot of
form to say Celeste?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
That's where my brain was too.
Yeah.
Any time that the league doesn't get to finish out, it's unfortunate too. But also, I think that the players on Celeste and some of the accolades that they have as individual players, I mean, they might not have reached, Metro. They might not have reached Guru completely, but I think they were one of the best 4 teams in this event. And at the very least, I think they would have pushed for a spot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, again, maybe it's poor form to say it, but you wish that things could have, been clean there and that we could have seen that through to its conclusion.
There was a point where Celeste finished second place in a Sindao Q final, and you were thinking, oh, this might be the future of Europe. This might be like and they were an actual team too. We talk about, oh, there's no teams at the top anymore. It's all pickups. Well, there's still some few teams, but you see how difficult it is for those things to kind of to carry all the way through. Just one person or one scenario pops up, and it's like, okay, now we got to start all over. A team that didn't qualify for the league, but I thought for sure they would, just based off of how well they played in Super Junk. Duck Motif, who played in all 3 qualifiers, made it to losers finals, which if you won losers finals in the first 2 qualifiers, you would have made it into the league. In all 3 of those losers finals or semifinals, they went 0-9 per games. They lost to BTX and Moonlight, which were 2 teams that they had beat recently, either the week prior or Moonlight, who got eliminated in Super Jump by Duck Motif. This was an actual team that would have really benefited from a league like this that is also slightly unique and is players that are very marketable. I thought, okay, they got all the pieces necessary to make this happen. And this, when it came down to win this set and you're in, they did anything but win. So that's I mean, it is what it is result wise, but that was kind of a team I was rooting for to make it into the league, but they just got gate kept by better teams those days.
Yeah. Good point. They can't make playoffs if they don't make the league. So they're not here.
Yeah.
And we haven't been thinking about them, but they deserve a shout out for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, from my perspective, other than Celeste, I think we have in the playoffs right now probably the 4 most unique teams in terms of the kinds of play styles and the kinds of weapons that they're playing, which does excite me the most. I wish personally, and maybe this is a little bit of like, used to be former coach bias, but I probably would have wished Henlo Fan Club could have made it. I think what I saw from them in the qualifiers and what they ended up playing over the course of the league didn't quite make all the much sense to me. When I was watching them in the qualifiers, I was like, okay, this makes sense. Henlo throws out the triple strikes when he's playing Neo Splash to enable Len to go forward on the Vanilla Blaster, set up the big bubbler, and now everyone else can rush in underneath the big bubbler, and that's what's protecting you to actually establish yourself and get space in. You can only really do that as the strikes escort that blaster into place, right, to get that done. And I guess they must not have liked that as much as they kept scrimming and just thought that having maybe more, kill pressure with the Trizuka was more beneficial. But to me, I wish they would have stuck with that more mentality, that space denial, because I think that's something in this league overall in the meta right now that is incredibly important, is how are you controlling this space, right? How are you continuing to establish yourselves and assert yourself? Because it's not just sheer paint output in the current meta. It feels like to me, it's very much about how you're positioning, how you're getting your weapons in the place you are in order to most effectively control the space that you need to have. So I wish I could have seen a little bit more from them, but overall, I'm incredibly happy with the 4 that we have here.
On the topic of like the kind of weapons that like Henlo Fan Club was bringing in, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see, and I've been seeing like some other players stream the kind of comps they're practicing for this event. The uniqueness that Henlo Fan Club had with their weapon selection, and we're kind of seeing the other teams tweak that a little bit too. I mean, obviously Moonlight's most enemies for the Decapitator right now, especially on Omega. Also switching to Wiper, we have Fluffy Back Lotus with the Tenebrella, which again we don't see too often itself on its own. I mean, we're in a decent spot right now where I feel that you're allowed to kind of test it more without the fear of updates coming at the end of the month. What's it going to change on this weapon, or what weapon will be affected? So now there's more honing in on, let's see what's possible. Let's do what we haven't really been able to do or want to do, because we're going to stick with what works until maybe a patch comes and changes it, and then we'll worry about it then. Now it's fair game. So, I mean, I'm interested to see, maybe in this finale we'll see some rare comp changes.
Wait, Kayvon, I just did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Nod and I both know we've watched Kyo's teams too much to know that they're gonna try a bunch of stuff in scrims and it's gonna look like they're gonna pull something out, but in reality, expect the same thing. The interesting thing, of course, with Gru is with Obito out and Bagel coming in, there might be some slight changes we're going to see compositionally, particularly in who is playing which weapons and how that might change. I know, right, it was Biscuit playing the Snipe Rider. I imagine it's probably going to end up being Bagel now if he's coming in, which frees Biscuit to go back over to something like a Squeezer, right? Which I know that he was prone to do when Gray was playing the Snipe Rider for Gru. So there's going to be some slight composition variations, but really, I would be shocked if we had another like, whoa, this is weird kind of moment. I think the reason why Moonlight pulls that out in the last game of that last match they saw was the trial run, right? Can we actually perform on this? And it seems to work out very well for them. So I imagine they're starting to enter this league with this, okay, maybe we can work on this bamboo idea, and maybe there's something else that can go along with it. But, you know, for the most part, right, like, Joe's like, oh, we'll see what weapons. No, they're going to play the same thing, you know.
Well, yeah, and I'll add in too. I think the 4... it might not be the same 4 weapons, but it's going to be the same 4 ideas, right? That's kind of where we're at right now in the game, where I would be interested at some point, maybe as a fun side project, if you took, I don't know, Area Cup 20XX finals and in the zone or something, chop off all the pencil players, because we know we're going to get a ton of the pencil players, and just look at the other 3. Especially these days, I think you would get like decent variety from the other 3 players, but I would say that the sentiment for a lot of people is that there's not a lot of innovation, so to speak, which is, you know, a buzzword that means nothing, in play right now. And I think the reason for that is we have really, really honed in on what is replicable, what is consistent, and what works a lot at a high level, right? You need a weapon, especially in Splatoon 3, where we've all got tacticoolers and la-di-da-di-da, you know, puzzle-shaped map pieces, Pokemon Puzzle League, Puyo Puyo, you know, whatever. You need something that goes in and fights. You need something that the enemy is forced to deal with. Then you need a weapon that can go along with that, typically pairwise, in order to capitalize on that opening that is made. You may have one weapon go 6 and 6, or more likely 9 and 9, or 9 and 8, or something like that. But then your other weapon, because of that, now gets to go 12 and 4 or something with a number of different specials. Then typically what you'll see teams do is that area space denial that K-Bot talked about, typically a shooter, typically either a Neo Splash or a Tenatech or a vanilla splatter shot. All 3 of which are kind of aiming to do the same thing in slightly different flavors. And then the last thing is a pencil, or maybe it's a map where edit is good, so you'll see some of that. But the teams are getting there in slightly different ways. So when we kind of nod our heads and shake our heads back and forth, we're going to see a lot of the same game plan. The weapons may change a little bit. I think that the league format in the group stages is the time that you would see a full-on total shift of everything like you did see in Moonlight. I do not think that in a do or die best of 5 bracket situation they bring that out in the same level unless they are
And
hugely,
Metro,
hugely confident.
by the way. Metro in week 2, right, pulled out a similar looking kind of dualies plus roller idea, right? Where they kind of changed up exactly what they were doing, and I thought that suited them well too.
Yeah.
Return of the crab tank, return of the king. Here we go.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well-
but even with that, it's a similar sort of like idea
Yeah.
with the dualies being the survival ones, and then you spend too much time shooting there, and then up comes the roller to, eat your lunch and steal your milk money.
So Basil tweeted out about the Moonlight comp. The reason they were doing the bamboo is to counter Synapse's Gal. They felt like it was a good matchup against that, and Whale also kind of helped everything else they had going on there. So I don't think it was Moonlight using that as like, oh well, we're just waiting for we can use this against anybody. I think they developed a game plan specifically against who they were going up against, which you see a lot of lower level teams do in Ludi, but you don't really see that kind of level of game planning outside of this league. Hinlow Fan Club in the last game played the same 4 weapons, I think literally every single set against Moonlight. So if there was any kind of change, that would be it. If there's some sort of like a Black Lotus or a Moonlight who has nothing to lose in week 1, like you're the underdog, you're going up against a traditional powerhouse. Let's just throw something at the fan that we think counters specifically what the opponent likes to do and see when it works, and let's wait for the right time to use it. Maybe not when we're in a game 7 and we absolutely have to win, but maybe we just won in dramatic fashion. We can pull out our trump card while we have a game to lose to spare with and see if it works. Will we see that again? Maybe from those teams. I will throw out another statistic though, because we talk about Pencil a lot, and rightfully so. It literally is pretty busted. There is also another weapon that is very heavily used. So we talked about 110 opportunities for teams to pick weapons over the course of the league so far. In those 110, Pencil was not picked 3 times, or I should say Blue Pencil was not picked 3 times. Also, Vanilla Shot was not picked 31 times out of the 110. So that means 71% of the time, teams had a comp that included both Blue Pencil and V-Shot. V-Shot was dropped mostly in robo zones or any kind of other scenario where people wanted to use more tri-strikes. You saw a lot more sloshers or the random, let's try an arrow spray, or we're beating these guys 3-0, let's get the well stringer out and see what that thing can do kind of scenario. So it really comes down to when do we want to use tri-strikes instead of the Zuka, and what are the 2 other weapons going to be that you kind of want to build things around at this point. And again, there's different philosophies within all of that, but I think for the viewer, what they see is, oh, is that the vanilla shot or is that the side order shot? Well, that's the real variety that comes into some of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, besides the color palette, it sounds funny, Or the order side just has a funny like sandpaper sound to it that just draws so many players to it, me included. But those are all valid points, right? I mean, like you said, K-Bot, this was the opportunity previously to test out anything funny you wanted to try out. Now it's go time. This is it. Whatever got you to this far that worked the best against all these teams you fought, now you're going to put it to the test. Now this is where you're locking it in. You're going to get these wins, and especially with these first round matches, I believe we're going to start off with Gru versus Fluffy Black Lotus, and on the other end, we're going to have Moonlight versus Metro. So they're going to pull out all the stops, especially with going against teams like Fluffy Black Lotus and Moonlight, who have a slightly different idea of the midline weapon they want to choose, that being respectively Tent and the Stamper, or sorry, the Wiper or the Decapitator. They're still going to get the job done. I mean, for Gru, you just have Kyo slosh over, regardless of the Tent Shield, or be able to just bomb out that Tent Shield. You're going to get rid of it as soon as possible. On Moonlight's side, throw a ball in a corner, you're going to be able to expect Omega trying to go in. And we've seen actually Omega have a fantastic play. I think it was an Inkblot game during, I think it was the Sendoku finals before the league really started, where they were able to hold a 1v4, practically getting a full wipeout on, I forget what team it was, but they were able to clear it out just enough for their teammates to come back and hold that zone. So they're no stranger to seeing Omega try to do the impossible. And it really comes down to how can they punish that quickly and not feed into it and allow for what happened back then to happen again.
Did you want to say something, Popgun? I don't. You
I
open your mouth and you were like confused.
Well safe.
I didn't want to talk over somebody. I was so excited to talk in general. I will. Speaking of Omega, one of the points I was going to bring up about Moonlight is if they're going to somehow find a way of pull an upset and then tweet at Zenith like, "What's your record against us now?" Huh? It would have to come down to, can they find a way to get Omega behind the enemy lines and start harassing that pencil? That's how they beat Starburst, is Omega was able to just find the ways past the defense, so to speak, repeatedly. And that came down to Shadow helping out a lot. Now, Shadow was using Tent back then. Moonlight is the one playing Q as far as how they want to change all their comps around. They're a completely different team from back then. But that's going to be key for them. Can they find ways to activate their Slayers and create chaos across the board? And if they can't, that set's not going to last very long, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the Black Lotus versus Gru. It's just, can that Tent survive Kyo's onslaught with that as well? So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
I think it'll be interesting with these first round matchups because, in my opinion, there's the faster teams and the slower teams. And I think there's two kind of distinct styles. There's Moonlight, who's playing incredibly quick. We're talking about causing chaos. We're talking about sending Omega in, getting the dirty work done. And as I alluded to earlier, now with this Bamboo and Dooley's comp, you're able to enable the rest of the team to play more with that in comparison to what you might have had previously. I think Metro is very similar in that way, where they are so used to playing around one another. They're so used to escorting one another in that they are also a team that is going to be incredibly quick to get set up, get in a position that is going to be threatening and going to be punishing, and you never know where the next punch is going to come from. Meanwhile, on the flip side, I think your Gru especially is this team that is a little more slow and methodical. And I think you see that in the games, right? In the games, Gru is going the full 5 minutes. They're winning at the end of it, but they're going the full 5 minutes. The other team might have gotten something on them, but in the end, they're able to find the winning formula to get that big push at the end and seal the deal. I think Black Lotus is similar in the fact that they're going to play a little bit slower. They're going to play a little bit more methodical. And so when a slow team and a fast team go against each other, it's all a matter of who's going to be able to find the speed and who's going to control the pace of the game, right? If the faster team is able to keep up the pace, keep throwing things at their opponents, then that's fine. But if the slower team is able to incrementally start building out their space, suddenly they'll probably be able to fend off and kind of, as Popgun said, hold the line, hold the defenses, prevent any chaos from happening, and they'll kind of be able to extend their effectiveness from there. So when you're talking about these round one matchups, you're seeing the slow team play against the slow team and the fast team play against the fast team. I think it'll be a different look and a different feel for each team. Maybe less so the slow teams, but particularly the fast teams, right? How does a decav play against the vanilla roller, right? But we now have 2 big bubblers on each side. I don't know how that one's going to end up, right? And I don't know if the players even have that much experience because there's not many players in the game at a high level that play those weapons, right? So I think in that second set especially, we're going to see quite the bit of fireworks as both those teams are looking to control the pace of the game the way they want to.
Yeah, and let's say like predictions with how those might turn out, right? If in the losers bracket you do see a match of like, let's just say Moonlight versus Black Lotus. It's going to be a really interesting fight to see if you do have someone like Omega who's playing really fast have to fight something like Anger's Tent that is easily going to be able to swipe around it, but also we've seen Anger play really well around their tent, being able to see from all angles that anything could come from it. And I mean, we even saw, I think it was a 52 player hop over Omega's slash when they tried to go in for the pick, because that's just an unfortunate thing that can happen against that
so
weapon.
Cool. That was so cool.
I would love to see it in slow-mo in like one of those crazy like out of bound camera edits. I mean, it was an incredible play to see. You think that Omega's just going to clear this player out, they hop over him just like a rabbit hopping over a turtle. It's just it was gone, and it's next thing you know they're getting picked off. So it's definitely a play that we could potentially see Anger have to play through around with the tent, fighting that Decapitator, where it's like, you're going to try to swipe around my tent shield, but I'll be ready for you, because I know you're going to have to come one of these angles, and I'll have to see it's just turn which side you're going towards. And whether I have a Zuko charged up or not, you're not really going to get too far past me unless they're not fully paying attention to how Omega is going to play around it.
I'll cut in here because K-Bot's kind of been talking about these fast and slow teams, and I mean, there's a commonality in the slow teams. It's Range Blaster. I mean, the two Range Blaster players are on the conventionally slow teams here. I think that you can't really play a fast team style and play Range Blast. I mean, you can try. Like, what Lobster can do whatever the heck he wants here. He's 5,000 XP, but you know, for the rest of us mere mortals here, sometimes you actually miss a shot now and again. So I think that the interesting piece of that set in particular, and really in my mind the whole tournament, I have said this before, so this is not a big like mic drop. I think Biscuit's the best player, period. Like, of anybody who is not from Japan, I think Biscuit is the best player. I've told Biscuit this. I have said this on many casts, but not when he's playing Pencil. Okay, he can play it fine. That's not a dig at him, but you know, you got to let the big dog eat at a certain point here. So when I heard that Bagel was going to be coming back here, my first thought was like, oh, that means Biscuit does it. Oh, let's see. So this isn't me pushing back on the slow v slow, but I think that that's going to be a very interesting piece to fill, because Gray can obviously play the support shooter role, has been doing it forever, but why would you switch Gray off Range Blaster unless you had a really good idea? We know what Kyo's going to play. So that should be the wrinkle that I think really sets not only that set, but assuming Gru moves on, or even if they lose, I think their fortunes will very much go as Biscuit goes, and what comp they build around that. And they're not scrambling for answers. That foursome has played together for ages here, but that was the exciting piece for me, is that maybe Biscuit will finally be free from the purgatory that is that weapon.
I was excited because in the qualifiers, Gray was the one on the Pencil, right? And then they decided to switch that up for whatever reason. But now maybe they get the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
They now have Bagel coming in. Gray can go over to the Range Blaster. Now Biscuit, I'm expecting a Vanilla Squeezer out of Biscuit. I think that's probably the weapon he's most comfortable on, and the one that's going to fit into this composition the best, that has a little bit of that range and that presence with the Trizuka. That'll be kind of critical there, and something that obviously Gru wanted with Obito playing the shot, right? So that's what I'm kind of expecting to see, and I think that's going to work out incredibly well for them. And you know, we talk a little bit about synergy, and now you've got, you know, another sub coming in that, you know, is going to shake things up. Obviously, as Nine said, all these players know each other, right? That I don't think there's going to be any major synergy surprises here. So I think there's a chance that this team could be even stronger in this iteration, thanks to what they can do and just how flexible all of these players can be. I mean, what weapon does Gray not play in this video game? You know, I'd be hard pressed to find one, right? So I think watching how Gru is going to be able to keep tweaking what they're doing with Bagel coming in will certainly be something that's exciting to watch.
Cactus, thank you again for sending me the screenshots of the Riptide set, so we could actually see the stats of that thing. This team that we're going to be seeing now is essentially the same team that we saw win Riptide, the Eternal Pursuit of Happiness. Or if you just want to call them not FT win, that seems to make more sense as well. In that set, with Bagel, hilarious stats racking up on the Pencil. Biscuit was using mostly Gal, until it came to a game 2 Clam Blitz where they ended up losing. Biscuit went back to 2020 and used the Nautilus for that one. So yeah, maybe Squeezer, but then again, it just, how do you want to pair it around with the rest of the team that you have there? Ice obviously not playing, so it makes things slightly different for how they want to do it. But yeah, that does activate Biscuit in a completely different way. It makes you think. And I agree with 9. Maybe I don't agree with 9, but I did before. I used to think Biscuit did hold the title as the best in the West for a long time. But if that's the case, why would they put them on pencil when it seems like there's other people that could do it as well? I mean, I know you have to have it is required. I think it's in the rules that you have to have blue pencil, and I think Gru actually is taking an L for using Wellstringer instead of it one game. The other team just didn't report it. But a player that good, why not just put them on the Gal or the Squeezer from the jump and let somebody else be pencil slave?
Because you don't need to. I mean, is that
clearly they weren't
because they won anyways?
Yeah,
they're just gonna nerf themselves.
I honestly think if you ask them, that would be some sort of an answer. Yeah. Like, we needed somebody to do it, and Biscuit said, "Yeah, I can do it," and they won. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I also, this is with no research whatsoever, but I would love to see either a mini Splatling or a Zimmy Splatling come out from Guru at some point. There's been so much tantalizing talk about the Zimmy come back here. Big Bubbler is in vogue, as it is at the start of every patch since this game came out. But who knows? Now that you've got both Bagel and Biscuit on the team, I know both of them have tweeted about that weapon sometime in the past couple months. Who knows? But yeah.
If you're even super lucky, you might see Forge Pro pop up as well. That's been a popular weapon in the past too.
Always.
Don't you know it's what wins tournaments? Forge Pro. Booyah bomb.
Hey, Chocopero played it, so the rest of us can.
It's true.
I mean, it does fit in, right? With
no, we're not. No, we're not. No.
I mean, A.
We're not going. No, I mean A. No, we're not. I'm not gonna waste any more of the good viewers' time on Forge Pro. Okay.
It's got its little preview there. It's got its opportunity to shine. It's that meme. Forge Pro mention. We'll love that one. I know we kind of talked a little bit about it before. But are there any other players that you guys want to maybe highlight that you've seen just do some incredible things that this league that deserve some recognition?
If I were to make my bet or my place for who I think the player of the year would be, I think it would go to Goss. Based off the results they have racked up so far, 2 Sindao final wins this year, 1 super jump, obviously, with the rest of Metro. Second place at Riptide. I thought that I picked them to be the winners for that. They obviously couldn't get the job done in a game 5. Hilariously, with up 4-1 with the Rainmaker just centimeters away from a touchdown and still couldn't get the job done on that one. But you think about a player who's grown, maybe hasn't grown the most, but has put more of themselves out there as far as the result to show who they are. It's not, okay, now I'm not just Kyo's little brother racking up the results. I'm going off on my own. I'm getting these kinds of things here. I'm leading the charge on a lot of things. And whenever you see somebody starting to push up a lot, it's usually Goss, but it's not overextending. It's not, well, I'm just going to stamp up here. It's the awareness to realize, okay, here's when I back off. Here's when I recollect myself. But it's like a perfect little rubber band kind of Slayer that you like to see, not just completely holding forward. And I know, because I'm saying this, I'm gonna get the tweet of the gif of the dude glazing donuts over where, but credit where credit is due. Goss has been good.
Yeah. No, and the Goss was the first play that popped into my head too. I think also when you can be the player that steps into a group of 3 and play as if you've been playing with the same, like, as a team of 4 for a long time, I think that's also an incredibly good skill. And I think Goss has a very good level of awareness to help pick up the pace of Metro in their kind of trio. We heard Zenith talk about it in the show that came on right before this, right? It's going to be those three. They've played together pretty consistently, and Goss comes in. I think his ability to step in and step up to where the rest of the trio is, not in terms of mechanical skill, of course, but more in terms of that play style, in terms of the mentality, and in terms of how they're playing around each other all at once. I think has been incredibly fun to watch across the board. So while Goss might not have all of the most flashy plays on that team, I think he certainly plays a critical role in helping them be successful, locking things down on that 52.
Yeah, and to be perfectly clear here, if Goss wants all the flashy plays on any team,
that's true.
He'll probably get them. One of the
Yeah.
most mechanically gifted players. To avoid the GIF, I will go in a slightly different direction here. Not because Goss isn't deserving of all the good things, but we talk so much about the tent from Anger because that's like the obvious one to pick, but the tent recipe only works because there's the threat of Noctis on the blaster behind it. To really dust things way, way off, back in 2019, back when Yoshimoto Gaming, aka Libilant Calamari, and the GG boys were running the show back in those days, they got their butts kicked over and over by a team called Meteor. And that team was known for their Brella Range Blaster combo. They were one of the first teams to the party at the time to make that work because nobody had any idea how to do it. It's like, well, okay, how do we get past like the tent? And then when we do, we've already taken so much chip damage from the shotgun of the tent umbrella main weapon, and then the giant grenade launcher of a blaster that was coming out from that point. So there's always been some life in that composition. I didn't think that we would see it in Splatoon 3. I think that Tactical, and in particular Pencil, has kind of given this a new chance at making this all work. So, we obviously saw the crazy play that Anger made at the end of that game 7. But in every game, when there were plays to be made or kind of a climactic moment near an objective or at a turning point in the game, I always look to see, all right, who's got their nose in it at that point? Like, who's there? They might not make the play every time, but who's there trying to make the play at that point, sensing the moment? And Noctis has been a top-level player for a long, long time. So, listen, we all know what a blaster that hits 2 directs can do to the complexion of a game. So I just want to give the credit where it is due. I think I saw Majin on Twitter say it's about time that a German whose name that doesn't start with Z wins something. Obviously poking fun at how Xeris, tends to win most things representing Germany. So I thought that was a fun bit, but I'm excited to see what Noctis is. And listening to the interviews there, they're clearly fired up, as they should be, with the new branding, the new team that they've got going on there. So I hope they put on a good show, and I think Noctis will be a big part of that.
I think if I had to pick a player myself, I'm going to skew off of those two choices and go to Moonlight's side for Omega. I just love the high-level Decapitator. I thought the weapon when it first released was such an interesting design and just its capability of being able to do a sharp 180 and still get a player, even if somehow behind them.
So annoying. So annoying. God, I hate fighting good decabs.
Yeah, it's beautiful in a way. It's just incredible to see a player to pick it up in the time that it's been released, bring it to this kind of level and do so well with it. And of course, the weapon has some of its quirks that don't make it the best, but it's definitely seemed to be a choice that we've seen picked more than half of Moonlight's games over something like the Wiper that Omega does also like very well. Or like you said earlier, K-Bot, like the Carbon, because deep down Omega is a Carbon player. But Decap just allows them to get in and do incredible things, even in scary situations. They just have that kind of clutch factor, and I feel the Decapitator allows them to push for that clutch factor. Allows them to make these plays that no other weapon really could get away with unless they're absolutely trying to play the weapon's range. But Decapitator is able to do both. It could play a little bit of range. It could go right in, get 2 picks with 1 swipe, and you're calling it a day. And then you're coming back to mid to hold whatever mode it might be, minus Rainmaker, because Rainmaker's not here. But I mean, I have to go with Omega for there. I mean, it's just incredible what they're able to do, what they've continued to prove with that weapon. And I'm sure we'll just keep seeing them make amazing plays for today's finale.
It'll be a lot of fun to watch ever. I mean, that's the reality, right? We've now assembled like 16 of the best players in the Western Splatoon right now that are coming together for the day today, and I imagine they're waiting in the wings, almost ready to start at this point.
What else do you got?
They're
for us,
chomping at the
Nexus?
bit, right?
They
Yeah.
are. What else do you got?
Yeah,
for
I
us,
mean,
Nexus?
they're raring to go, but before they ready up, let's just real quick, let's talk about a little bit of that what we saw before, right? Just before us, the little interviews they had, their beef, if you want to call it that. It was so hard to do that because they were so nice to each other. It's so
Yeah.
hard to like kind of
There's-
start that little bit of tension. It's just like you're and just start laughing. It's like
There's no beef here. We're
No,
I mean,
no, there is.
Oh,
There
okay.
is.
I have it. I have
That
it.
is-
Oh,
Nine's got
Yeah,
it.
I was
I
going to
want
say the navigator thing, but
Well, yes,
That was a good
but
one.
No, I have beef with one of these teams, right? And I want the ball in the low post here because I've got to just share it with everybody. My beef here, Moonlight. My beef is with you. You have done things that no other team has done. First of all, you are a team. You have a generally positive reputation in this community. People like you and root for you, and multiple of you have successful streams. Almost all of you do stream consistently. You have a player who is taller than 6 foot on your team. You've done all the hard stuff. All you have yet to do is win. That's the easy work compared to what else you've done. Okay? The laundry list you have gone down. Do you know the Voltaire-esque best of all possible worlds that people would feel if you won? If Moonlight was the best Splatoon team, people would shower you with all kinds of praise, hold you up as the example of what everybody should be, the shining star of the community. Something, the shining moon. I don't know. Point being, it's got to happen at some point, right? You can't always break my heart as you do in these tournaments, getting so close so many times. Moonlight, my beef is with you, and it's because I know what you're capable of, and I would love for today to be the day that you finally take that next step and be what everyone knows you can be.
Poor
That's the
Moonlight. You think they don't have enough pressure on them already? You haven't
Now-
been
now
to
Nine
these
is-
lands, Nine. These lands are literally the Moonlight Invitational. There's
I'm familiar.
clappers, there's signs.
Their little
And
flags.
when the other team wins, it's golf clap. Like, yay, nice
No,
job,
you
Starburst.
should see-
Nicely done, Stream Soda.
That group follows them to water basketball. Let me tell you, like, they're getting rooted for in water basketball against me. I'm getting booed. That never happens. I don't get booed. That's not what I do. But apparently, when the Moonlight Fan Club comes into water basketball, I'm the big bad guy. So I'm very much familiar with what they are at LANs. And that's why I want to see them take that next step. And they know they're capable of it.
one
I
day
think-
the faithful shall be rewarded. Whether or not
It-
today is the day, I don't know, man. Like I'm sorry. I look at this Metro team. I've sung their praises already plenty, but I think they're playing on another level. I think that stylistically, if they can execute the fast composition, or as I call it, a nimble composition, it will be able to take care of whatever Gruger is going to throw their way. It'll be able to fend off, a player like Omega who's trying to just run in there and get stuff done. I think it's an uphill battle for Moonlight to climb for sure. I'm rooting for it. I mean, USA, USA. I've just got a blue towel. I don't have an actual American flag, but even still, my heart tells me one thing, but my brain tells me another. And that's the reality of our situation here today.
This just turned into a Moonlight segment, which just further highlights the point that I've been saying for a while now. The three most popular teams, maybe in planet Earth, are Moon, Light, and Moonlight, and there is no team in fourth place. Now that's the state of top level right now. Well, maybe so, but yeah, that. I think if Moonlight won, that would be one of the best storylines that could come out of this. But the reason they haven't is because they're constantly gatekept by the players of Guru and by the players by Metro, who aren't shy in letting you know about it as well. And that's just the reality of the situation. The strong players are just making sure of that. By the way, the best possible story that could come out of this, in my opinion, if Black Lotus were to find a way to win this tournament, how huge would that be? Not just for them, not just for Europe, but for all of planet Earth competitive Splatoon. We talk about how there's no teams, how Moonlight reigns at the top. Well, what if we add a whole new team into that conversation? A team that has an opportunity to say, okay, cool, we like kind of did okay in Div X. That's what we're known for right now. Well, now we made playoffs, and if we could knock off Gru and then get another win against Metro, that solidifies us with the big boys, and that adds our name into the conversation. You're gonna have to talk about Black Lotus for years if they get a win today. Obviously, the same thing with Moonlight, but Black Lotus is, if you think about it, they're kind of just a lesser known version of Moonlight because they don't have as many kind of results racked up or lack thereof that we see from these other teams. But they're knocking on the door of this as well, and they're building up their reputation through this event.
Popgun, to your point, the one thing I've noticed is it feels like the teams that knew each other better as players and had more synergy together as players ended up in our top 4 in comparison to the rest of the league coming in on largely pickup rosters who didn't have a lot of experience playing on that exact set of 4 players entering the league. You look at the fan club teams, right? Obviously, Celeste is kind of the oddball there, but I would argue Bet is more of a pickup than an actual team, even though they've been around for a while. They just don't play the game as consistently. They just show up when they want to, when they have fun.
Yeah. Well, they didn't even have the roster that qualified. Power was on their qualifying roster, and he wasn't a part of the league.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they picked Power off the street to qualify for the tournament, and then dumped them again.
Yeah, too much success, I guess. Can't have a world top on your roster. Yeah.
But like, look, right? The teams that were successful in this league were the teams that were more synergistic. The teams that had the chemistry with one another. The teams like Moonlight who came through. The teams like Black Lotus who came through. In that 7-game grueling set, right? They're the teams that were rewarded this time around, and hopefully that's a message to a lot of you. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Celeste stick together again, right? Because that could have been another team that we're talking about right here along with it. But if you actually take the time to learn how each other plays and you've got a winning combination, you can go pretty darn far with it. And we'll see whether or not Moonlight or Black Lotus can do that here today.
Yeah, I mean, something that I really noticed when I did that beef corner with one player of each of these teams is when I asked them like what they do for fun and just how they like to spend time with each other, and just hearing their stories of how they'll, for Gru side, they'll scrim like all the time. Outside, they'll play just the game casually all the time, hang out, talk. Same with from Zenith on Metro. They'll just hop in a call and talk for hours on end, just having good conversation and just finding stuff out about each other. And then you have players from Moonlight and Black Lotus who individually kind of formed because of their teams and kind of became friends from there, and bring it too much to the point where they're hanging out in person and always having those friendly outings and just being able to be more comfortable with each other and building those strong friendships. So they definitely have that going for them that a lot of these other teams didn't. They just have not just game synergy, they have in-person synergy. They have that friendship that, dare I say, the power of friendship. But, that's what they got going for them. They have that ability to just be so real with each other, so comfortable with each other. And touching on that subject from Black Lotus and Moonlight, I mean, Moonlight's off of 2 second-place land placements and a third-place placement from Riptide, or third or fourth. And then Black Lotus doesn't really have anything to their name at the moment. I mean, this is a huge opportunity for either of those teams to take this, where Black Lotus, it's like the deepest underdog coming out on top, and then Moonlight, it's like, just please take something. Please. That's all we ask. Just take this win for once, and then you could do whatever you want. I mean, it's lined up perfectly for those two teams, and obviously Screwgrew and Metro, they're on performing, like K-Bot said earlier, just on a whole nother level, and you just see it in their gameplay. You just see the way they're able to perform, even just mechanically on their own. I mean, these are players that have reached that little bit of that threshold that's kind of hard to break into for a lot of top level teams, and they have it figured out. And they're probably gonna be the most entertaining match to see if they go against each other, or it's probably gonna be predicted to after these first round matches. So they have a lot more that they're going to be able to perform with that might be less one-sided that we might see with these other teams from Gru and Black Lotus, and of course Metro and Moonlight.
Yeah, we talked so much about the opportunities for the two lower seeded teams. Well, I don't even have to parentheses that they were the lower seeded teams based on qualification. I can say that here without ruffling any feathers. It's objective. What an opportunity for Gru, though. Those of you who know Kyo, which is most of you, because I see his stream numbers these days, know that Kyo, excuse me, good dude, but loves nothing more than a sit down, son moment. And those of you who have seen him at LANs know he'll flatly tell you that. He'll tell that to his best friend, his family. Like, he'll tell it to anybody if there's an upstart coming for his crown, his throne. And, everything that K-Bot has said about Metro, I mean, it's not even a matter of agreeing or disagreeing. If you aren't agreeing with, his praise of them, you simply haven't been watching the team. It's that simple. So what a perfect opportunity for Kyo to, as he has done for the better part of 5, 6, 7 years almost now, to just swat another team back down and say, nope, not this time, not again. Sorry, I'm still the best here. My trophy case that has fallen over multiple times and is now a trophy mansion gets one more here. You're welcome to try again. I'll be waiting for you and beat you again. But you can try. Keep trying. What an opportunity again to do that, to take another league and to do it with players that he's played with for so long.
Well, it's also kind of a revenge opportunity as well, because Metro curb stomped a lot of those teams and players in Super Jump. Metro as a team has not lost, period, as a pickup group. And that includes the Kios of the world, the Bagels, the Biscuits, the Grays. It was so impressive what they did in Super Jump and just how it steamrolled on from there. So I've been obviously my prediction is Metro versus Gru. And when I picked Gru to win on the graphic, it's because I had no idea who Metro's fourth was going to be, whether it was going to be Goss, Xeris, or if they're going to pick Power Up from the waiver wire or whatever is going to work out. Goss is going to be playing, so it is the same team. And rather than change my pick, I'll just somehow finagle my way into saying I still think Gru is going to win. But I've been thinking in my head, what's on the line for the set between those two when we eventually get to it? Sorry, Black Lotus, Moonlight, you can't delay the inevitable. Other than the prize money that's obviously on the line here, Gru doesn't have anything to gain from this other than to say we are still who you thought we were, or who the team that we've always been envisioned as, the FT wins of the world. And I feel like there's more to gain for Metro if they were to win, because players like Zenith and Goss have been looking to break into that kind of horrible phrase Mount Rushmore category, and they've been knocking on that door over the course of years. Zenith's kind of tweeting out like, I really wanted to win Riptide and Sindao Q, and I want to win 20XX. This is a legacy moment for those players versus Gru, where it's more of like we want to keep you out of the club that we're in. That's what's on the line for them.
Quote him from about an hour ago. What else do I have to prove? Right? Like, that's the way Kyo's coming into this. And every other team is hungry, right? I think when teams are hungry, they have some kind of advantage. You see that in competition, you see that in sports, you see that in like actual wars that have been fought, right? Who wanted to make the country more? USA! USA! We wanted it, 9! We wanted it! We established our country. Independence. What is a kilometer, baby?
I would not liken sports teams to real war, K-Bot. That's
history books, 9. History
books. Don't you try to academia me this collegiate. Okay, sure. Okay,
history books. Point being, I do think, obviously, Gru is a solid team. There is something to be said for the teams that are hungry. And we'll see how much of an advantage that actually is in just mere moments.
As we say in Low Ink, it all comes down to who wants it more. I never thought about wars that way either, but I
Hate it.
I've been enlightened.
Hate it. Put it up there with
You-
the sports cliches I hate the most.
You're saying you don't know how to quantify and measure want? It clearly comes down to who wins and who doesn't.
Oh yeah, the old 50-50 Pioneer here, and wins are a quarterback stat as well. Yeah. Let's just. I'm getting steamed here. I can't go on anymore, Cactus. You gotta end it before I start clawing my throat out.
All right, we'll wrap it up. Final question for all of you before we give our outros goodbyes. Who are you choosing to win this entire event today?
Well, Popgun already said his. To
Gru
some
Gru.
extent.
Yeah.
No.
I'm taking Metro in case that wasn't abundantly clear. I think they've been the strongest team this whole time, and I don't think people have given them enough credit. And I think stylistically they will win the matchup versus Gru Gru. So I'm taking Metro here.
Technically, I would have taken Metro if I know what their full roster is. So I'm going to play the card either way. If Gru Gru wins, that's what's on the record. If Metro wins, I can play this player was day to day. I didn't know.
What I'm hearing is that 9 right now can copy your homework and be more correct than you, Popgun.
Yeah, which was, let me tell you, a great way for me to get through this league of just copying all your predictions and answers here. Made my job much easier. And pretty successful for those of you aspiring academics out there. Find the smart kid and just copy off of them. It works every time. I am going Gru Gru because every single time I bet against Kyo, he wins.
I mean,
and he reminds me that I bet against him. Not in like a negative way, but it's always I gotta stop doing this. And on a more we talked about this already, so I won't really rehash it. I do think that Bagel coming back in and them having a solid week, knowing that they were going to have what I think is their strongest four, is going to let them run absolutely any comp that they want. I think their stronger comps will come through here. I'm expecting a great set. I have nothing bad to say about the players of Metro here. But I really think having this four for Gru Gru does put them at another level, and I pick them to win.
Somewhere at a class at Inkblot Art Academy that 9 and K-Bot are in, there's a history professor grading papers trying to figure out why did two people put down America beat or won the American Revolution because they were just more hungry than Britain.
Yeah, they just wanted to go home less. That's about it.
History books.
USA.
Stop saying history books.
I think for my prediction, as much as I'd love to shoot for an underdog pick of Black Lotus or Moonlight, as it's been mentioned time and time again for this pre-show, I mean, between Gru Gru and Metro, they're just at a whole nother level. It's just, do I think they're that far ahead? Not really, but it's enough to make the difference. And I'm probably going to have to go Metro based on just their experience they've been showing time and time again against the pickups that Kyo has brought to the table. I mean, there's plenty of, obviously we're going into for this finale, it's going to be different than what we've seen, but I mean, it was at Riptide, we've seen Metro bring it to a Game 5. Online in tournaments, we've seen Metro be able to bring it even similar, bring it to that final game and really bring on that challenge. I think Metro has a real opportunity here to finally put that nail in the coffin and say, finally, I beat you. Congratulations, but sit down, old man. Let me wheel you back to the retirement home. It's time for you to say goodbye. And I think Metro is going to try to prove that today.
No, it'll never be time for these players to say goodbye.
You're taking them out to pasture here? What?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute here.
And I object to Kyo being put into a wheelchair because that is not a good sign for me, if that's the case. Or 9 for that matter.
Or me.
You're getting up there too. What about you?
In comparison to him.
In comparison to Kyo, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. Fair enough.
Yeah, but I have to go with Metro. They just I feel like this is it. This is their opportunity. They're gonna pull out all the stops, and this is your time to shine. Can you do it? But that's all that I have for the pre-show for today. I want to give a huge thank you to K-Bot, Popgun, and Nine for all joining me here today. Let's round things off. Starting with you, K-Bot. Where can the people find you?
I think they know where to find me. I tweet half the time about Splatoon stuff and half the time about retweeting collegiate esports stuff that happens. So go get involved on campus for those of you that haven't already. Whether that's in your own Splatoon club, which is becoming more and more popular on college campuses, or more generally in your collegiate esports programs. Go get involved there, build up a community with the people you've got around you. You won't regret it. You can find me wherever. I'm just excited to sit here and I get to watch. Like 2 weeks ago was so much fun for me. I'm looking forward even more to doing it today.
Amazing. Take it away next, Popgun.
I was about to say, do I need to be cued in or should I just take it off?
My bad.
You can
Either.
find me actually right here on this very channel within the next couple of minutes commentating one of the sets you're about to see. It is Sunday after all, and Saturday was one of the best days I've ever had in my life. So I'm going to steamroll that into a fantastic Sunday commentating some sets, I believe, with Falco.
And Nine, bring us home.
Man, I really hope it's not Falco in the booth here, because that's going to age so wonderfully if it doesn't.
It's Falco.
Yeah, I know it is,
Okay,
but I don't know. I don't wish anything poorly on Falco. Just, that could be
just
really
on
funny.
Popgun, to be clear.
Well, yes, no. Let's be absolutely clear who I want that bad on. Falco is a wonderful, wonderful person. Would never say anything bad about Falco. Anyway, kind of like K-Bot here. My socials are pretty similar all over the place. You can find me at POW_NY on most of my channels. And let me just kind of take that opportunity to say, K-Bot is, pitching out for supporting the collegiate scene, which you absolutely should. Support your local LANs, because there are a lot of LANs that have been going on right now. Arizona's got their LAN going. Sea Battle up in Seattle, of course, you didn't pick that up, has been now running for a couple of times here. And of course, everything that the entire staff up in New York is doing for their events. But I know Philadelphia's got some stuff going on. Milwaukee, yeah, there you go. Texas, I know, has had a long-standing one. Chicago's had theirs going. So I know I've named like Gatorland. There you go. I mean, I know we're naming like major metropolitan cities at that point, but take a look out, see what happens. Even if it's just maybe a collegiate scene and a couple other people who are seeing Splatoon for the first time. See what's there, socialize, make friends. That's how this scene all started. I think sometimes in our online world, it's easy to get away from that. But we play this game with people we like, get involved with the local scene, meet some more people, make some more memories.
That's a great way to end us off. Once again, thank you all three for joining me here. Thank you to the viewers who came here a little bit early before the matches to listen to us ramble and talk about these amazing teams we have for you today.
Rambling it was.
I wanted to ramble. I wanted to ramble. We had to talk about this stupid league thing, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Bite the hand that feeds.
But
I am hungry, Nine. You should know that about
I am
me.
too.
oh man, that's all.
Captain,
that's all we
just
got.
Sign off. Just steamroll us.
Steamrolling out. Go. Here we go. Matches coming right to you. That's it for the pre-show. Thank you all for coming to the pre-show. Matches coming your way. Right up next.
ピリ辛